Hello, everybody, and welcome to a probably packed episode 35 of GamerVision. I am Jeff from Just One More Level, and we've got the one and only Tony from Procedurally Generated. How are you doing, Tony?
Howdy, everybody. I am great. It is Mario Movie Day, a day I thought would never come, but it is here, and I'm very excited.
I'm pleasantly surprised. I'm still getting used to the fact that there are good non-video game video game adaptations starting to like regularly come out. Between Mario, well, I mean, the movie's not out yet. The movie could still be bad. Who knows? But it's looking good. It is looking good.
It's looking good. Yes.
But like The Witcher and Cyberpunk's new anime and the stuff that we've seen for like The Last of Us for for HBO,
Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's freaking Sonic the Hedgehog, which I really, as far as like Sonic could have so easily fallen into that usual, it's just a crappy cash in.
Yeah. And luckily, that was a very good movie, and I think that set the bar, and Nintendo realized that they had to get to that level if they wanted to have people talking about, well, I mean, people were going to talk about the Mario movie regardless. If it was good, they're going to be like, yeah, sure, great. If it was bad, they were ready. I think the internet was ready to pile on.
Like, Chris Pratt is not Mario. He doesn't sound like Mario, and to be fair, I didn't quite hear.
Well, let's talk about that, because
like
we got the trailer. It was 2.5 minutes long. A really good look at it. It started out dark. I was not expecting where they went with this. But then it
Bowser
ended in the mushroom.
Burninating.
Yeah, Bowser turned into
It's just
into Trogdor. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the Chris Pratt stuff, everybody was like, he's not my Mario, this is going to be awful. And it was completely inoffensive. Like, he had 2 lines in the trailer. You could barely call that a look or a listen at his voice. It was fine. Like, it's Chris Pratt with a slight Brooklyn accent.
Yeah, very, very slight. And as you pointed out before we actually hit record, I mean, we talked for about 10-15 minutes before actually hitting the record button, and then you pointed out, why are we not recording this?
Exactly.
But towards the end of that trailer, we do, as you pointed out, and I can definitely hear it. I don't know if it was the last line of the trailer, but you can kind of hear that Brooklyn accent as you pointed out.
It's very slight. There's just a little hint of a Brooklyn accent. I think you'll probably hear more of that once we actually start to hear Mario, with extended lines. Yeah. It sounds like they're going a little bit, they're taking some of that inspiration from what I think is the best version of Mario, and that's Captain Lou Albano's version of Mario. Like, nothing against Charles Martinet. His voice is great in the games. I love Mario's voice in the games, but that voice would not work for a 2-hour movie.
But I was happily surprised, because before going into the movie, I was like, man, they're spending a lot of money on these voice actors. Like, they've got some incredibly talented people voicing characters for this movie. That means that they're probably putting a budget behind it, and but I still didn't really know like what direction they're going to go with it, and I'm still not. I mean, obviously, okay, so obviously the goal is to stop Bowser. Like, that's
that's what Mario does.
Yeah, that's the plot. To stop Bowser. But
I'm going to bet that at some point in this movie, Peach gets kidnapped.
That's I don't remember Peach being in the trailer.
She was not. They did not. There's been one still shot of her in a movie poster, and that's all we've seen of Peach, and she looks great. Like, they did translating her into this animation style worked really well. It looks really good. She looks exactly like you would expect Peach to look like if she was slightly more human.
And I'm also going to kind of go out on a limb and say that she's probably not in the first place that Mario looks. Whether it's
probably not.
Whether a castle, if there's any left standing. I don't know how far Bowser's going to take this destroying castles thing, but but yeah, it was just kind of it opened up, and I was like, okay, this is kind of. I mean, this is a very epic way to start this trailer. This is not what I thought was going to be the intro for this trailer, and then just the whole thing of open the gates, and then the very ineffective.
I love those penguins, man. I love those penguins. The penguins from Super Mario Brothers 64 are back, and they stole the trailer for me. They were hilarious.
Just that is just the taste of our might. Do you surrender? No. Okay, like, well.
No, you're nothing.
Yeah. So, obviously, we kind of talked a little bit about just how much further Nintendo can go with doing animation stuff, because they did just, they made the announcement that they've got the Nintendo Animation Studio. Is that?
I don't remember what they're calling it. And a lot of people speculated that they bought that studio to do stuff like this because maybe this movie was not up to the quality that they were hoping it was going to be. And based off this first look, I think that's not the case, because this movie looks incredible. Like, we don't know what the movie's going to be like, but visually it is going to be a stunning movie. It looks amazing.
And I mean, Miyamoto is involved. He's one of the executive producers for the movie, so I feel like it's very likely that Nintendo was really wanting to make sure that they stayed fairly well in control of it, because they're probably the most infamous when it comes down to being burned with their own franchises when they let anyone else touch them. So they're really wanting to make sure that doesn't happen again. But like I said, I think it's a really good trailer for the movie, and I think there's a lot of potential that the movie will be really good.
Yeah, it's a good first look. I went into this with my expectations down on the floor, not expecting anything, because it could have been a train wreck. And luckily, my expectations are now, about at the desk level. Now, I'm still keeping them low.
It's rising.
But I am now, instead of just, it's going to be awful, I am cautiously optimistic that this is going to be a good movie.
So, with, we were kind of talking about how there's people out there that are already, trying to make their opinions and their voices heard about how the movie isn't what they were, it's not shaping up to be what they wanted. The typical social media trolls are doing their rounds. But yeah, we talked about how the fact that we can appreciate what is being created without it necessarily being, without it being targeted to us. Yeah. That's, we've grown out of being the target market, or the expected target market for stuff like this. But there's people out there that are just like, this isn't, it needs to be more mature, or it needs to
this is a family movie. This is a movie targeted towards kids, and my two youngest kids saw this and were they were very happy by what they saw, and they were like, we have to go to the movie theater. We don't go to the movies very often. We generally wait for things to come to streaming services or DVD, Blu-ray, whatever. But we will be in the theaters on day one to see this movie.
Well, and it seems so. It seems like with this, with what is it? So the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yeah, it's called the Super Mario Brothers movie.
Just everything about it just seems to whenever you see a Mario anything from Nintendo, it looks fun, it looks engaging, it looks colorful. It's like it's all over the place, but also very just fine tuned and focused. And that in that very short trailer, I got all of that. It looks like something that is coming from Nintendo. There is obviously a lot of passion and love behind it, and despite not being like I'm not a big Mario fan, but I can appreciate what they're doing with it, and it looks good.
Yeah, they said during the direct for this that they've been working on this for 7 years. I don't know how much of that's been active, working on animation and plot and recording voice lines and all of that stuff, but this movie's been in the planning stages with Illumination and Nintendo for 7 years, and it shows. It looks incredible. Like, I've watched a ton, well, not a ton, but I've seen a few movies by these studios. I like the first Despicable Me. I thought that was a really good movie. The second one was okay. I haven't seen any of the Minions movies. I do not like Minions. I could never see another Minion in my life, and I'd be happy.
Understandable. That's I'm right there with you on that one.
I really like their Grinch movie. I thought that was a very good. I thought that was a very fun and very entertaining movie, especially for kids. This blows all of that out of the water. Just at least visually, it looks amazing, and I think that has to come down to Nintendo saying, this, and this, and this about what the Mushroom Kingdom looks like.
Yeah, and it's within that first, I think it's probably like first 20 to 30 seconds, you definitely see that they've got, or hopefully they've got the comedic timing down. They've got the humor down. They know what they're going for.
Well, the whole movie is just filled with comedians. You got Keegan-Michael Key and Jack Black and Seth Rogen and Chris Pratt, and all of those people are very good at what they do.
Yeah. But
man, Bowser, Jack Black killed it as Bowser.
Yeah, like just so far, again, we're just based off of what 2 minutes, 3 minutes of a trailer.
I think it's 2 minutes and 26 seconds, something like
that. So just kind of based off of that little taste that we got today, everyone seems to be hitting it out of the park, and but with the fact that Nintendo seems to be making more of an effort to have more of a say in these other projects, especially in regards to like having the Nintendo something studio for that stuff, in regards to possibly TV shows and movies where they're actually like engaged in the creation. What would be I've got kind of my idea, or at least I've got like something that I would like to see them turn into a TV show or a movie, or do something else outside of gaming with. But what would be your like number one like Nintendo franchise that you would love to see them create a TV show or a movie around?
I mean, it has to be Zelda. Like, that would be the first thing that I would want to see. I don't know what they do. I don't know how you give Link a voice. Like, giving Mario a voice is one thing. He's had somewhat of a voice over the years. It's been different all the time too. They did that Zelda cartoon, but that was that was not good. Like, I have a very special place in my heart for that Zelda cartoon. I love it, but it's a bad cartoon. But the Zelda franchise is one of my top 2 franchises of all time. Lord of the Rings, I would love to see what Nintendo could do making a Lord of the Rings style show with the Zelda franchise.
That's I think they could. I mean, I think they have enough lore with The Legend of Zelda that they could easily make a like long running TV show. But yeah, just absolutely avoid any semblance of that voice actor.
Except I would want Link to say one time, just once, well, excuse me, princess, just once. That's it. Get it done. Get it out of the way in the first episode if you're doing a TV show. That's fine, but he has to say it just once.
Just get it out of the way. Just, hey, we're starting here. We're going to put this on the shelf after this one line is done. But for the people who know, for the people who experience this, they'll enjoy this.
Like, the show can start off with Link tripping over Zelda and her yelling at him and him going, well, excuse me, princess. And that's it. They're done. They've got it out of the way. And now they can get on to the seriousness.
Defeating Ganondorf and saving Hyrule from what other, terrible, troublesome thing that's happening now. For me, as much as I love Fire Emblem and I would like to see them do something with Fire Emblem as far as like a TV show, I really, really would love to see them do something with Star Fox. Something that really dives into those characters. I'd probably want it to be more of a TV show so that they could kind of tell a longer story. And not just rehashing the Super Nintendo game. Yeah. Like you've brought it to the N64. You brought it to the 3DS. Like let's do something. Let's do something new, something different, just something a little bit out of like. But they've got very colorful characters. They've got insane personalities. So I would like to see them do something. I mean, they tried to do kind of a story-driven thing with Star Fox Adventures on the GameCube. Just do more of that, but just make a TV show.
Star Fox could very easily be a Star Wars-style franchise for Nintendo. Something that's galactic and epic in scale, but still has that sense of fun about it.
And, the first time that you hear do a barrel roll would just be awesome. Like, it's just, Nintendo's got these wonderful one-liners that they can just toss in, just sprinkle into whatever they're doing. And it would probably instantly make an episode just great.
Yeah.
Fan service goes a long way.
Yeah. And then the other thing I would love to see, aside from like a Fire Emblem anime or a Kid Icarus anime, I think Kid Icarus would make a great anime as well. I would love to see them take Metroid and do something just creepy as heck. Like, I don't like scary movies, but I would love an alien style, not Zelda movie. That'd be weird. Metroid movie.
Not sure how that would work.
That's just dark and creepy, and because that is the franchise that you could take in a very serious direction.
And I really feel like as far as like Metroid would probably, I mean, outside of doing something with like Eternal Darkness or something, as far as like a mature rated thing, Metroid I feel like they could really like get the most out of. But I wouldn't necessarily be against them trying to do something with Eternal Darkness. I mean, it was a very, very weird and strange game.
That's a franchise that could do something and just really mess with your head.
Yeah, like just really throw things out there. Like they could try to do some like augmented reality things, or like the try to get more of a real world experience in with it. Like that, I don't know. I think they could do some cool things with Eternal Darkness. Just because they could just go crazy with it, if they gave it a budget. Like that's the big thing that I'm really noticing over the last couple of years is that these adaptations of video game properties, they're getting a budget, which is making a big difference. The days of bad or just guaranteed to be bad TV shows and movies hopefully are behind us. Uwe Boll, just stay away. Just stay far, far away.
And I think one last thing that I want to mention for the Mario movie is that I watched that trailer, absolutely loved it. I have never wanted a tie-in video game to a movie more. Like, if there's one company that says, we're making a movie, and you know what, we're going to make a video game based on that movie, Nintendo is the one company that gets to do something like that. Yeah. It's just, it's right there.
I mean, as I've always said, that Nintendo is very much the video game version of Disney. Mm-hmm. Like, Nintendo has such iconic characters. And they're not necessarily, I mean, just like Mickey Mouse was never really known for speaking lines or having amazing narration and stuff, but like Mario and Mickey, like they have very humble pasts and made billion-dollar empires out of it.
Yeah.
But speaking of crossovers, now that we've got potentially a good Mario movie, and Sega didn't flub the Sonic movies, we could, in theory, have a potential crossover between the two in the movie world for the Olympics. Like, I think that would be kind of an interesting... Oh, or I mean, they could also... Nintendo could go the route of deciding, hey, Ubisoft, how about we make a show that crosses over, or a movie that crosses over Mario and Rabbids, which, you know, kind of like the Minions.
Gosh, I can't believe that I would watch something like that. But if they do it like Mario and Rabbids and they go down that route, I would watch like a 30-minute Mario and Rabbids mini movie. I would do it.
I mean, like if they had like cooperative, like Mario is working with the Rabbids to save people. I mean, it would be kind of interesting. But yeah, I'm surprised. I liked the trailer. I went in with very, very low expectations, but I was surprised and happily surprised.
As long as they don't, there's two possibilities that I see for post-credit scene to this Mario movie. And the first one is a picture that Ethan sent me earlier today, and that is a picture of Mario, this new movie Mario, and laying on the ground in front of him is Jim Carrey as Robotnik. And I was like, okay, I could do a Mario, Sonic crossover. Or the other thing that they do is credits roll, fades back in. No. General Pepper hands Mario an envelope and says, I want to talk to you about the Smash Brothers initiative.
Okay. Well, I mean, like they could go full on Marvel Cinematic Universe on this, and
here's the other thing. I definitely don't want either of those things to happen.
But at the same time, I kind of do, because like as far as like going epic with this whole thing, like who knows? I mean, at this point, as we have learned this year, anything is possible. Any acquisitions could be possible. Video game adaptation movies and TV shows are now more regularly being good because of like The Witcher and Cyberpunk, Castlevania, potentially The Last of Us with HBO. Sony's really, really doubling into this whole thing with God of War and Horizon. And
Paramount didn't do so good with Halo, though.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Let's just forget that exists.
Yeah. They've got one good movie or video game adaptation with the Sonic movies.
That's true.
Sonic movies.
That's true.
But yeah, they really flubbed the Halo thing. But anywho, speaking of flubbing,
woo, what a segue, man.
Yeah, that's I'm getting better at these. So you may have heard over. Let's see. This is what is
I've
today?
got tears already.
The 6th.
They're rolling down my face.
October 6th of 2022. So you've probably heard the news. Overwatch 1 is not the only thing that is dead or dying. Google has decided to pull the plug on Stadia, which I wish I was surprised. The Mario movie surprised me. I have no idea why I couldn't say movie right then. That was disconcerting.
Pour one out for Stadia.
So the Mario movie surprised me. Stadia's announcement did not surprise me.
Unfortunately, it was not a surprise. Like, this has been coming for a long time.
And at least from my stance, I I really think that this is just another one of Google's self-inflicted wounds. They've created this reputation that they do not support services if they're not immediately successful. So from day one, when they announced Stadia, I was like, oh, that's really cool. I'm never really going to get into that because I don't want to throw myself into an ecosystem that 2 or 3 years down the line, they're going to just pull the plug on. And, well, I mean, almost right on cue.
Yeah.
Like, what, almost 3 years?
It was right at about the 3-year mark.
But,
yeah, it's not surprising news, but it is disappointing news because Stadia proved that game streaming can work. That tech behind Stadia is incredible. It
still the best out there.
I would say 95% of the time, probably more, but 95% for sure, that stuff was, if I was playing a game on there, usually it was Destiny. It worked, and it felt like I was just playing on my computer. And it didn't matter if I was on my computer or if I was on my phone, it worked. And I was able to play competitive games on a streaming device as if I was playing them natively on a console.
There is... I did try Google Stadia. Essentially, my fiance was wanting to play Baldur's Gate 3, and we wanted to play cooperatively and all that kind of stuff. So we briefly had Baldur's Gate 3 for Google Stadia. The problem is that Google Stadia, because of the tech behind it, it was always the most up-to-date version. Mm-hmm. Even if there was no updates available, it was always the most up-to-date version. So when I tried to play just the Steam version of, I think the Steam version of Baldur's Gate 3, alongside the Google Stadia version, we could never match up because Google Stadia was already at the next update, even though all the other versions didn't have that update.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a little bit of a hiccup that I ran into with that, but yeah, the tech behind Stadia is absolutely, even today, the best out there. Mm-hmm. It showed that it is possible that you could have a Chromecast hooked up to your TV and you could play Google Stadia games without having an Xbox being the most powerful system out there. As long as you had a decent enough internet connection, you were fine.
And I've actually put some money into that ecosystem. I've bought games on Google because they were on sale there, or it was a game that you could only get on Stadia. So I put a little bit of money, not a lot. I think about $30. And they did announce with the closure of Stadia that they are going to be refunding everybody every penny that they've spent on hardware or games. That does not include subscriptions. So if you had a pro subscription, you're not getting that money back. But if you bought hardware, a controller or whatever, through Google stores, you'll get that money back. And any game purchases that you made through the Google Play Store or through Stadia's store, you'll be getting that money back as well.
Which is a very, out of the entirety of Google Stadia's existence, probably the best thing to come from Stadia.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, you guys were with us for X amount of time. You bought things from the store. You supported us in whatever fashion you could. But yeah, minus subscriptions, we will be refunding your money, which I think is a very good thing to do.
Yeah.
But it does pose the question of, as far as digital ownership and just the process that is a digital storefront. Because I know some people have been kind of drawing the connections of well, what if Steam decided to pull the plug? I don't know how Steam would handle that
That would be very interesting at this point, because a lot of people's PC libraries are so deeply integrated into Steam. What would happen? There have been some people that have come out and started to say, give some solutions. Ubisoft, the day after, I think it was, announced that if you have any games on Stadia, you can actually, they're working on a way to be able to let you transfer your Stadia versions of those games to the PC versions of the games that you would be able to redeem through Ubisoft Connect. And then if you don't have a PC that you wanted to be able to play, all of those games work on GeForce Now. So you could get a GeForce Now subscription for, I think it's $10 a month, and you would be able to play those games. Amazon has access, so if you already have a bunch of Ubisoft games, you can actually access those with a Luna subscription, as well as the Ubisoft Plus subscription, and your save files would transfer over instantly. It works seamlessly.
And it's... I saw someone who was... there's a couple days of people talking about the closure of Google Stadia and like doing like account transfers and stuff. I saw someone it was kind of making the rounds on Twitter that someone had like 6,000 hours in Red Dead Redemption 2, I think.
Yeah.
And just like pleading with Take-Two to be like, hey, can we get some kind of character account transfer thing to another platform? Because that would be a lot of time that someone has spent in one game to just have vanished once everything shuts down completely.
Yeah. And I don't know how they're going to handle something like that, because all of the Google stuff is done through Linux. It's actually a Linux backend that Stadia worked on. It would probably be an easier solution if this had been something like Luna, where all of those are actually just the Windows versions of those games that you're playing. So I don't know how something like that would handle transferring from Linux to PC if there's not already some cross-save type solution in place.
And as far as Google Stadia, getting back onto Google Stadia, PlayStation, one thing that I did see is that Google is looking into unlocking the Stadia controllers so that people could at least use it for other services, other devices. Did you ever get around to getting a Stadia controller?
No, I never did get a Stadia controller. I always wanted to get one because I thought it would help a little bit, because the Luna controller does give you some slight boost to latency issues if you're playing on the Luna service. So I always wanted to get one, but I never did. And now they're going to get ridiculously expensive just because people are going to want them as collector's items.
Yeah, that's stupid secondhand market. But I'm really wondering if Amazon's going to take, like, because it's like, I know you can't purchase anything on Google Stadia anymore. I know they shut the store down.
The store is shut down. Yeah.
I can't remember the actual day that the service actually ends.
January 23rd, I believe.
So I'm kind of wondering, if Amazon or maybe Microsoft with Game Pass, maybe they try to do something in the lead up to Stadia's final days to try to get some of those players onto their services, because that, for all intents and purposes, it looks like Amazon is not going anywhere with Luna. It seems like they're doing what Google should be doing and trying to build that base up. So, but it's a crazy year, and 2023 is going to be another just weird year. Not even sure really how to end this episode. This has just been such a all over the place episode. But
you're Jeff from Just One More Level.
Yes, I am. and you're Tony from Procedurally Generated. And we'll see you with another episode of GamerVision, episode 36 right around the corner, getting closer to episode 40. I don't know what we're gonna do for that, but Let us know what you think of Google Stadia closing, the games that you're playing, and we will see you next time.
Bye, everybody.